all, welcome. My name's Lucy, if you haven't already met me or seen me spamming all of your Facebook walls with all the motivation by music, exciting news. And I have been working as M's project manager for our virtual Christmas concert, which is very exciting. Yeah. It's going to be on Saturday, the 12th of December at 7 o'clock. And we're going to be doing it live, me and M hosting live on YouTube. So this is just supposed to be an informal chat. As you can see from our failed attempt at Facebook, we are just starting to learn how to do this. But we just wanted to really get to know M and everything about how she got to where she is, what she's been up to over the past few years. She has been named Eagle Radio's Music and Arts Local Hero and BBC Surrey and Sussex Music and Arts Community Hero. She is a very, very established and highly don't make funny faces.
It's because I can see myself in the mirror.
She's a very accomplished individual, and we have the pleasure of interviewing her tonight. Over to you, Miss Emily Bollon.
It's horrible being able to see yourself and you're like, hair, everything. But here we are, and I'm very excited to be doing this. Lucy came on board, what, in August?
Yeah.
And yeah, took on that role of project manager because the virtual Christmas concert had kind of started to form into an idea, and that is not something one person can do. And Lucy has been amazing, helping with finance, communication, marketing, all of that stuff, general organisation, yeah, it's been awesome so far. And you're a pleasure to work with, Lucy Curd.
I hope so. Actually, Em and I are quite familiar at seeing each other on our phone screens because we have 2 meetings a week and they are virtual. So most of our partnership has actually been virtual. So we should be quite good at doing this, but we're normally quite silly when we in our meetings. So hopefully we'll be able to rein it back just a little bit, enough to actually hear and talk about everything. So first off, I'm going to ask you, if you could just tell us a bit about yourself, things like where you're from, what you enjoy doing when you're not working, things like that.
Okay, well, I am from Southampton. Whoop, whoop. Moved to Guildford in 2009 to study at the University of Surrey. Stuck around ever since. What do I like to do in my spare time? I love all of the board sports, all of them, you know. Snowboarding, surfing.
She's not joking.
Spend a lot of time paddleboarding, longboarding, wakeboarding, all of the boards. Chairman of the board. That's what I love. Hi, Steve.
So I take it, if you could travel anywhere right now, it'd be somewhere where you could be on a board.
Well, yeah. So Canada is like second home. We've got some amazing family members over in Canada. And but I would really like to, I think, go to Japan. I hear there's some pretty good snowboarding in Japan, and it's a place I've never been before. So maybe one day when we're able to fly and I take some time off, that'd be awesome to go to Japan.
Sounds amazing. So back to the kind of music side of things, have you always enjoyed like choral music, gospel choirs? How did that all start?
Oh, not really, to be honest. I don't think I ever really remember as a youngster liking choral music, or being like exposed to it in any way, really, other than everyone singing together in the church kind of environment. But no, not really a fan of that growing up. I think where it all kind of kicked off. Sorry, you know when you're like, lip feels like it's.
We're just giving you close-ups here of real life.
So I think it was basically around, I think it was around college or like my gap year kind of time, where I got dragged along to a youth gospel choir that Karen Gibson was leading in Southampton. Whoop, whoop. And yeah, got dragged along there, and honestly, I felt so alive, like felt able to be myself, and I absolutely love the experience of participating in a gospel choir, and then very quickly got experience like kind of leading a choir and standing in front of a choir and getting the audience involved and stuff like that. So for me, that's where my like love and passion and energy and excitement for choral music, as it were, kind of was sparked from participation rather than audience
Yeah,
vibe.
yeah,
Yeah.
no. I definitely would say I grew up in a kind of gospel choir. My mum was always in gospel choirs, family, all of that kind of stuff. So I think it very much is a, when you're part of it and you get that experience, you really do come alive. It's not a cliche, it is something that definitely has such a positive impact.
Yeah.
Um, was there anything specific that kind of made you feel like you'd want to lead a choir and actually put yourself out there, or were you kind of just, like you say, dragged along into it?
Well, see, the dragging only happened right in the very initial stages. Really, freely turned up and be a part of it. But I do specifically remember, so it was with Sing It Gospel Choir. People like Nikki Manning and Kate and Nell. Thank you to all of you guys for starting up Sing It. It was an incredible experience. Literally changed my life, and brought me where I am now. But I remember once we were performing at the bottom of West Quay Shopping Centre. Do you know the one in Southampton? Do you know the one?
I haven't been, but sure, we'll go. we'll say yeah.
That's okay. Massive shopping centre in Southampton, and at the very bottom of it, we were performing. I think it was around Christmas time, and Karen Gibson wasn't there, so our esteemed leader was not there, and we were kind of singing carols, and we didn't really know what we were doing, and I was like, guys, we should be singing some gospel music, and they were like, well, why don't you get up and lead us? I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, and they're like, sorry if you were there, like, you know, you remember it how you remember it, like, never know if it's true. But anyway, I ended up in front of the choir leading us in like I Feel Like Praising Him or something like that, and I was like,
Yes,
oh
classic.
guys, I feel like praising him, and no idea what I was doing, and I just kind of enthusiastically, basically essentially what I do now, threw my arms in the air. And there was this amazing moment, and I basically just kind of copied what I saw in Karen always,
Yeah,
if you've seen her in her element, right? Loads of people have seen her at the royal wedding, which was phenomenal. But when you see her unleash upon an audience, and
yeah,
have complete, you know, freedom in what she's doing there, it's phenomenal, and she gets everyone involved. So that's all I'd known. So I remember seeing all of these people up in the higher balconies, and I called on people to lead the choir, you know, like, and I got this little boy, like tiny little boy, he was all enthusiastic, and I said, you shout a number and the choir will clap that many times. And he was like, one, and they like clapped, and two, and they clapped, and it was the song, and it just, I don't know what overcame me in that moment. I guess it was mimicking initially, you know,
yeah.
what I did in Karen, but I felt so alive. There was no ounce of insecurity or fear or anything. It was just lapping up that moment and absolutely loving it. So yeah, I think that's where it kind of sparked. That I was like, do you know what? Leading a choir is the best seat in the house, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, I mean, having a teacher like Karen, you know, you're very privileged in that respect, because she is somebody who has such a vibrancy and such a, almost like a contagiousness to the way she leads choirs and the way she gets people excited about singing gospel music. It's, yeah, it is amazing. She's actually one of the first choir leaders I ever saw when my mum was in the Brighton Ghost Gospel Choir, so that was my experience. So it is interesting how, coming from that, we then move on to university, which is where we met in your
Woo!
in your choir at uni. And obviously it was a very similar environment for me of what I knew. So could you tell us a bit about the university gospel choir and what happened with that, really?
Yeah, so absolute big up to Tom Windybank. Woo! The
Yes, Tom.
elusive Tom Windybank. So yeah, I guess by the time I got to choir, there was a massive thing that happened where I went. I was selected to go to Poland on a symposium. Again, Karen was involved in that, and blah 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 blah. So there's like a whole story behind that. But essentially, I came to university then and was like, I want to be in a choir, and there wasn't one running. So I said, well, the only real option then is to start one, right? So
Yeah.
Tom was the only person I knew at university at the time, and I said, Tom, I want to start a choir, and he said, I will support you in any way you need. And I was like, brilliant. and there was birthed the University of Surrey Gospel Choir. And do you know what? It was a phenomenal time. We ran that choir for 4 years together. And, you know, it went from me dragging, again, it starts with dragging, doesn't it, really? If you're not really experienced singing in a choir before, it starts with dragging. I got all of my housemates to come and join in, and we start singing. We drag other people along until eventually it had over 100 members, and it was phenomenal, wasn't it? It was insane. And we did such insane things. We didn't do any auditions. There was no you can sing, you can't sing. We had loads of international students, and it was an amazing way for people to get integrated within the community. And you know, we I wrote a couple of things down. When we performed at Guildford Cathedral, that was amazing. Absolutely blew my mind. Like, it was a phenomenal experience. We were the X Factor backing choir for years, linked with UWY, Lorraine, and the whole team there. We sung at the BBC Gospel Proms, the first ever BBC Gospel Proms at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yes, I was there.
Phenomenal things. And yet, so many of the individuals in the choir would never have said that they were a singer. And yet, the things that we were doing together, like on national television, all of these like big things. Finalists in BBC Songs of Praise Gospel Choir of the Year. We got kicked out. We didn't actually make it onto the TV, but we were meant to be. We had a couple of people too young in the choir, you know, just the fine print. But you know, phenomenal things. And yeah, just my memories of what we were able to achieve with a bunch of people that would never have said that they could sing. Was really, really amazing. But I don't know about you, some favorite memories would always be backstage. Like, backstage is where the party happens. We would just be jamming out, we would be singing, chucking in harmonies, like. And I remember a couple of times we would go for like a social, right, like a meal together. And I remember yeah, exactly. I remember trying to sing in harmony with Tom on helium balloons. So I believe I can fly. And it's really difficult to pitch yourselves, but I just remember having so much fun. What is some of your memories of that time
as you say, like the backstage stuff, like the preparing for things, or like when you've just come off stage, it's a whole nother dimension to what you get to do when you're a part of a choir. And I always remember us coming back from somewhere on a train or a tube or something, and we're just the whole, bless the poor commuters and everyone that was just on the train, and we're just going for it and having such a good time. But yeah, the Royal Albert Hall has to be up there, because I mean, it's just an epic place. It holds, you know, it's held so many incredible artists. So for us to get to be a part of that was a massive privilege. But a lot of my favourite memories are actually kind of just the weekly rehearsals. You never failed to kind of mix it up and introduce some crazy new games and warm-ups and things for us to do. The relationships I built in that room, they're still some of my best friends to this day. So yeah, it's a massive part of my life. You're a massive part of my life because of everything you've created. And I know there's probably a lot of people either watching or who are part of, you know, the social media following who, would say the same thing. Like, Em was the one that kind of connected me. Em was the one who got me, gave me that confidence to sing again, all of those types of things. Because, a lot of us think, I'm not actually a singer. I like to sing, but I'm not a singer. And you create that environment where anybody can just step into and be like, okay, no one's kind of telling me I have to sing a certain way or be who I'm not. You're just embracing that gospel vibe, jamming out, having a fantastic time. So after everything that happened, you know, college time, gap year, and then university, how did Motivation by Music start?
Can't
remember, actually.
So I was running the choir, but also, do you know, and I'm having just wardrobe malfunction here. My eyelashes are sticking to each other. I'll just do this.
Oh dear.
That's what happens when you put makeup on, right? Everything goes
Yeah.
disastrous. Anyway, yeah, I was running the choir, but I also had some phenomenal experiences and opportunities. Big up to Anne, who was studying criminology, who I lived with at the time at university. She came home one day and said, "Hey, would you come into Send Prison to sing? You know, get the
Oh,
inmates
wow.
and create a choir there." I was like, "Yeah," and that was like a prayer of mine 10 years prior. I said, "God, I would love to have the opportunity to go and do something in a prison setting." And then the opportunity was presented. It was absolutely phenomenal. And so I did that for quite a bit of time. Ben Golding, he came along. They absolutely adored him.
Yeah.
He looks like, you know, an adult Milky Bar kid, you know, beautiful black boy.
That is actually a perfect description of it.
Playing the piano, and we did that for quite a while, and I learned so much from that experience as well, about being open and honest about my faith and the lyrics and the reason for choosing particular songs and stuff. You know, when you're singing about freedom,
Yeah.
and you're in a prison with people who are in prison. I'm just visiting, but that's their reality. It suddenly becomes very poignant and meaningful. Yeah, which was really, that was really something powerful for me. And yeah, so I had different opportunities like that, but I never once thought that I could make like a living out of doing that. You know, it was just something that I did as part of my university experience. Yeah. But I think the turning point came after I'd been president of the Students' Union. Cara, big up to Cara. She told Surrey Business School about me and said they were looking for someone to do a team building experience. And she was like, Bollon can do that. She'll get everyone singing. I didn't even know I could do that, but Cara saw me and it was like,
yes,
yeah,
Clara.
So they booked me, and it was like an all-day team building experience. And again, I had no idea what I was doing, you know, and it was with people studying an MBA, like, you know, people that are full on into business. And I was like, let's sing some gospel music. And that's actually where don't tell anybody, but that is actually where the name Motivation My Music came from, because they said if you call it gospel choir, you're instantly, you know, a lot of people have got preconceived ideas of what that might mean and how they kind of unqualify themselves to take part in that. So someone said, why don't you call it like Motivation My Music? So, and I guess that's where it was really birthed. And then people like Jonathan Day, I'm like bigging up loads of people who are probably never going to watch this, but whatever. Jonathan Day, he really kind of mentored me in those first kind of months. And was like, you've got to go for it. Like, if you believe in this thing and you know, and you're passionate about it, make that step, go self-employed, start it up and just go for it. So thank you, Jonathan. Here we are.
Is Jonathan the one that used to do our oh my throat's gone funny. The one who used to do the union days.
Yeah,
good man.
So he does like
those like team building,
stuff like that.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, obviously a lot of how you got to where you are now is part like you've crossed paths with people who you need to stop doing that.
So annoying.
But you've obviously like crossed paths with so many different people, and each point they kind of said, oh, what about this? Or they've given you they facilitated you to be able to do something you're passionate about. And that's just been amazing. And I think even to this day, with you and I working together on this project, not to kind of make anyone jealous, but a lot of these ideas were birthed from us being in a pool for 5 hours chilling out. I'm very lucky to have a swimming pool, so we were just chilling, you know, socially distanced kind of thing in the summer, chatting about all this stuff, and suddenly all these ideas came up, and I mean, here we are. It's less than a month to go now, which is so exciting. So obviously that kind of was where a lot of the ideas were birthed, but the kind of motivation by music kind of for doing such a big joint event, where did that come from?
Good question, Lucy Curd. You know what, so over the last only couple of years really. MbM, the kind of choir side. So choirs aren't just what we do. Like I alluded to there, we do like team buildings. I teach one-to-one, do workshops for choirs that already exist and stuff. But the kind of choir part of MbM was really just MbM Gospel Choir, you know, and then it branched out, and I started running Parkin's Song Voices with Parkinson's UK, Guildford and South Surrey. And then we kind of branched out until suddenly, like really, really recently, we've got 5 weekly choirs. You know, we've got the choir Woking, Merrow, MbM Gospel Choir, Parkin's Song Voices, Topic of Cancer, Talk Voices. You know, it suddenly became like, oh my goodness, this is like loads of different, that are really unique in their in what they're doing. You know, what they're set to do. Whether it's a health choir, a therapy choir, or I can't really say therapy choir. You know, health choir, or a community choir, or a gospel choir, or a pop choir, whatever. And yet something really unites them all together. And so this was going to actually be our year that we brought all of the choirs together. We did NHS 70, NHS 70 was it? Celebrating 70 of the NHS. We performed at G Live, and so that was when we had a few of the choirs. I just started Talk Voices, and we performed together at that event. And there was something so incredible about these different choirs joining together. So this year we had booked in to do an away day. Well, that's what I was calling it, away day, where all of the choirs would come together, where it's inspired from, you know, the corporate things. But where each choir would perform, we'd have like a workshop, we'd all perform together, and it would just be a real celebration of motivational music. So that got postponed and then cancelled because of COVID. And I was feeling pretty bummed about that, you know, like, this was going to be our year. We had a Mark DeLissa workshop booked in, obviously got cancelled. And then, I don't know, I guess it was really, COVID prevented those things from happening. But then, thanks, Steve. Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you see that? I was like, okay, Steve.
Yeah, thank you. Good last name, by the way, Bollon. It was actually COVID almost robbed us of that opportunity. But in the same breath, presented us with this opportunity to do something virtually. You know, nearly all of our choirs have done virtual performances now. And then that led us to think, well, hey, we could do a concert. We could do something that was a mix of live hosting, raising money for charity, and then these kind of pre-recorded and chopped together virtual performances where everyone records in their own home and we put it all together. And so that's where it kind of birthed out of that. So I really believe that whilst COVID has kind of robbed us of a lot of things, it's actually presented us with many amazing opportunities. And I believe 2020 is the year where our vision is becoming clearer, because we're starting to realize what is important and what we're able to get innovative with the things that we have and do something beautiful with it, you know, beauty from ashes, and all that.
No, definitely. I mean, in terms of overcoming different barriers, different I don't know, different kind of struggles, in the sense that your choirs would meet every week, and the people would obviously be able to actually physically come together, be able to, that was their kind of their group or their community, the people that they chose to spend time with, week in, week out, with you, enjoying learning songs. And then suddenly, and something that would have been a very regular thing for them to attend, or something that actually was really important for them to do, for example, in the Parking Song Voices choir, a lot of the members there really benefit from being a part of a choir. So then the next step was obviously to go online. And how did that all work?
Oh my goodness. Well, it was, I think when you're like me and you kind of run on like passion, right? On like energy, passion, excitement, let's go.
You're like a Duracell bunny.
It's like, do now, think later. Like, just get it done.
Yeah.
I remember, honestly, that day. So I was running Merrow Community Gospel Choir over in Merrow, obviously, at St John's Church with Reverend Rona. What a legend.
Yes.
So I was running that, and everything was hunky-dory as normal. Had about 30 people there, running choir, blah blah blah. I then get in my car, I pack up all my equipment, I drive it across town. We were at the cricket pavilion, I think, at the time, in the centre of Guildford, to run Talk Voices.
Yeah.
Not many people showed up, and we maybe had a trickle. Like, there was about 5 of us showed up, and I was like, "What's going on?" And they were like, "Em, have you not watched the news?" I was like, "No, I've been driving between choirs." They said, "Well, Boris has just," I think it was Boris. Boris has said that there's this deadly virus that's going around, and everyone has to kind of stay indoors. And I was like, "What? What?
Is it a joke? What's happening?"
It was literally, I just ran a choir with 30 people, no big deal at all. And then suddenly we've got 5 people sheepishly walking into a massive pavilion. Like, I don't know if we're meant to be here. So that was on the Monday. And I think on the Wednesday, I ran my usual, Woking and MbM Gospel, I think, or it was on the Friday, and ran them online. Just, loads of amazing community groups on Facebook and stuff, with choir leaders in being like, "Panic, we can't meet together, we got to do something, let's just move on," and the transition just kind of happened. And we've learned a lot, we've made some mistakes, and we've fumbled over something that's become beautiful and majestic, and and we've done it. And here we are all of these months later. What was that, like March? Here we are in November.
Yes, well done.
We're thriving. COVID cannot stop communities gathering together and singing. It can't. It's absolutely incredible. We've literally been silenced. We're not allowed to sing. We're not allowed to gather together, and yet we're still doing it, following all the rules. Like, it's like madness. It's an absolute miracle. So I'm so thankful for the community groups, for people gathering together, for technology. And it is limited, of course it is, like, and we can't complain about that. Like, it's phenomenal what we're able to do, and I'm so thankful for it.
I mean, it definitely has changed the face of what it means to be part of a community group, to be able to do the things you love, your hobbies, whatever it is. Everybody's had to adapt. So you've gone on Zoom. That's how you primarily do your sessions each week. And for those people who maybe weren't very used to using technology before, obviously that has also had to be another thing that people have had to overcome, because there are obviously a percentage of the members that we have who probably think, "Oh, all these young people are on their phones all the time, on technology all the time," and now they're having to do the same thing in order to be a part of the choir, to speak to their family, friends, whatever it is. So it's been a big journey for everyone, I think. But like you say, in terms of thriving, I think the reality of where you've come to now with MbM just is probably even further than probably what you might have done in person, purely because there was that drive to embrace every challenge, to make things work, to get everybody involved, regardless of whether they didn't, they felt shy in front of a camera or whatever it was, driving around, filming people at a distance, helping them record their videos. It's been amazing. So obviously, logistically, that's kind of how we've had to do things now. And we've got our 5 choirs. Is there anybody else joining us for our Christmas concert?
Oh, well, I have to check with my marketing manager if we can reveal that. We have some amazing special guests. That's all I'm going to say. Special guests. Technology has, as you said, enabled us to do more than we ever thought possible. And I remember early days in lockdown, the first lockdown, doing a Facebook Live, and I'd never done that before, didn't know what I was doing, still don't know, clearly.
Sorry.
And I had, people joining in, Els from the Bahamas, had friends joining in from Canada, Australia, and I was like, hey, this is insane, because not that long ago, I'd have, as I grew up in Southampton, I have friends in Southampton that go, oh, if only you ran a choir down here, I would join it. And I'm like, oh, that's tough. Like, that's hard. I'd love to, but I can't.
It's tough.
It's tough. Tough on me. Tough, not like that.
No. I mean, that obviously that's obviously where doing a concert like this has been so exciting, not just for the people taking part, but also anybody can watch it wherever they are in the world. They can be there watching this concert, and still feel like they're a part of being here. You know, if they're stranded somewhere or if they've moved to a different country, it's just incredible that we have this opportunity, and quite a responsibility, I feel, because Christmas is going to look different for a lot of people, isn't it? It is going to be quite upsetting for trying to be serious, just
I know
flying off your chair. But yeah, I think hopefully, I mean, we probably obviously won't be the only people doing something like this, but I really hope that, you know, the various groups and choirs who do put on things like this, people really do turn up, and it does still create that kind of getting ready for Christmas vibe, where you get to sing your carols, where you get to kind of get all excited about having Christmas, even though Christmas might look differently. So we before now we have raised money for a very special charity, but this time round we're not just raising money for one charity but two. Who are our two charities that we will be raising money for?
Our two charities are Parkinson. No, that's the name of the choir. Parkinson UK, Guildford and South Surrey, which is a little branch of Parkinson's UK, local to us, obviously, Guildford and South Surrey. And they are all about kind of increasing the quality of life for people living with Parkinson's in our local area. So do all kinds of groups and activities and support, which is, I've seen kind of, you know, firsthand with running Parkinson Voices, and the impact that those kind of groups and communities really do have on people, that they don't feel like they're alone. They're not dealing with it on their own, and that's like the greatest gift, right, for any human being, that what you're going through is you're not doing it on your own, you know, which is really beautiful thing. So that's Parkinson's UK, Guildford and South Surrey. The second is Topic of Cancer. Topic of Cancer is a local charity. Again, it's based at the University of Surrey, and it does research into immunotherapy as a big part of what it does, which is phenomenal. And Nigel, who set up that charity, who's now moved on from it, his life has been insanely extended due to immunotherapy and the research they're doing, which is phenomenal. He's like a walking miracle, right? And they also run support groups, community groups, and our choir. So they're the two charities that we are supporting. We've got two Just Giving pages. We tried to make it one. It wasn't possible. It's okay. We're rolling with it. So we've got two pages, which means you can give twice.
You certainly can.
Parkinson's Just Giving page, read a bit about the story and donate that way, and then you can head to our Topic of Cancer, read the story and donate that way. So we're really, really hoping that we can raise, you know, £3,000 for each charity would be amazing, would be a start, would be awesome during this kind of season of virtual Christmas choir.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of charities have really struggled, haven't they, with the lack of the footfall, you know, in supermarkets or wherever. You know, even the poppy appeal massively was affected this year. So it is really important that we're doing this, and we really hope that you can donate. There's a link tree in our Instagram bio with the links, both links there. So you can go to that to donate. They're already live.
They're live.
So kind of final question. So you've already obviously talked about a bit about the concert and stuff, and about this whole kind of like thriving and claiming back, but like the mission behind what we're doing. And for those who are going to watch it, kind of what would you say to them?
What would I say to them is what
for your mission behind what we're doing, what you want people to get out of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I really do believe that there is so much beauty around us, right? I mean, look, we've got Lucy Curd right here with us.
And Emily Bollon.
Um, there is so much beauty in the world, in creation, in human beings, in our resilience, our community, our unity, our how we overcome, in our humor and the way that we interact with one another. And you know, there is so much beauty, and there's so much amazing things, so many amazing things that are happening. But you don't see that on the media. You don't hear about that on the news. You know, and you know, I don't really blame. I'm not going to get all, you know, I don't blame the news outlets. You
No
know,
politics here.
they sell stories that sell, right? And bad news sells. So that's what they do. And you know, I'm not saying they lie about stuff. There's a lot of horrible stuff that's happening in the news as well. But if your only source of like you know, what you allow to come in is negative media, this is happening, this group is rising against this group, and there's fighting going on, and there's hatred, and there's, we're all dying of this deadly disease, and all of this is happening, and people, you know, if that's all you're hearing, you become blind to the beauty that is right in front of you. And so I really, you know, you've got to do a shout out to Craig Towner. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Good morning, Instagram. Whatever he said. He put up a little post that says something like, "Do what you can where you are with what you have," or something like that. And I really like that. Is what can I do to help showcase the beauty that is in the world? And I think what I can do is I can run choirs, I can get people singing, and I can showcase that. So I really believe that the virtual Christmas concert will be a time, you know, like my family in Canada, shout out to the Williamses and the Moores, they are going to be watching the concert live. It's 2 p.m. in Canada, where they are, and it's 7 p.m. our time. And I love the fact that while you and I are hosting this concert, they're going to be sat together watching the concert and sharing this Christmas experience with us. Even across the pond. Get to spend Christmas with them normally. Like, there's something really, really beautiful about that. And what I love is, it doesn't matter if we're in lockdown. It doesn't matter if we're out of lockdown. It doesn't matter if we're in somewhere in between when no one knows what we're allowed to do. You know, you can peer over the fence to your neighbour and go, "Hey, tune in to the YouTube," and you could hear them listening to it from theirs. Or whether you can have people around your house and sit in your PJs and watch the concert together. You know, there's something different, there's something bubbling, there's something beautiful that is coming out of this. And again, I come back to that phrase, beauty from ashes. That which has been lost, we will see something rise from within it. Like, that's what I'm really excited about, and that's what I hope people see with it. It's not just a concert, it's not just a, you know, just an event or another online thing. You know, it's something really beautiful to engage with. And I'm so excited that all our choir members, usually they'd be panicking and, you know, wearing all the right clothes, and some of them naughtily printing out the lyrics and sticking it on the back of the person that stands in front of them. I know you do it. You know, and they would be in the concert, so they wouldn't get to watch the concert. Whereas they get, all of their hard work is done. They're going to get sit and watch and enjoy the concert for themselves. And I think that's a really beautiful, special, unique thing. Not necessarily a footprint for what's always going to be, but a very special thing to this year, to 2020. And I think that's a real beautiful, beautiful thing to be celebrated. Fire!
I totally agree. So, like to say, most of the hard work is done. All the choir members' work is done now. Now it's obviously on to you with the audio editing, and then we've got some very skilled video editors putting together the videos that everyone will be watching, which is very exciting. And then we're just trying to get the word out there to anybody and everybody. But could you maybe, you know, since I know you've got a piano in front of you, maybe give us a little teaser or hints of what kind of songs we might expect?
Oh, golly gosh. Well, at least I'm not using my iPad, so that means I can sneakily get up some chords. A teaser of a song that we're doing. Oh, do you know one that I love? Because if I remember singing it sometimes, like when you go to a concert or a Christmas service, and you're singing this song, and you're like, I'm not ever quite sure where it finishes, right? It's the one that goes, Gloria in excelsis Deo. I always go, Gloria. You know, like,
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a teaser. We might have, you know, a twist, an exciting version of that song coming at you.
It wouldn't be yours if it wasn't twisted in some sort of fancy way.
With a you know, a little bit of that, you know.
Oh God,
Yeah,
none of that.
It's going to be a lot of recognizable songs that the audience can sing along to, can have some fun, can get involved in, but obviously with the MbM twist and yeah, a few little special little surprises in there. What? It's going to be awesome. Fun for the whole family.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much for asking all of my questions. Some, you know, I threw a couple of curveballs in there that I didn't quite inform you on before. But it's just, you know, so much fun to be able to share with everybody. People obviously will probably catch up later because they thought it was going to be on Facebook. Sorry, now you can watch it once we post it again. But yeah, it's just been so nice to obviously hear a bit about your story and a bit of things behind. Even I learned something new this evening behind the Motivation by Music business, like what actually goes on behind it all. So just before we say goodnight, I'm thinking, could you just give us one little random kind of fun fact about you? Something that people probably really wouldn't know.
Oh, I used to make a list of like fun facts so that I could go to them, you know, for when this comes up. Well, the only thing that can kind of come to my head, there's two really. And some people do know this because they've played this game with me before where you have facts and a lie and whatever. But one is I had a chipmunk eat a peanut out of my mouth in Canada and I loved it. It was the best thing ever. It was very intimate. Wouldn't be allowed now, of course. And
I hope Josh is okay with that.
Well, the other thing is when I went skydiving at university. Big up to Calvin and Sam.
Wow. Oh yes.
Went skydiving. Thought it would be the biggest adrenaline rush ever. Maybe it's like a weird impact of adrenaline. Maybe I'll need to look into it. But I felt so relaxed and calm and peaceful. It was like I thought I was going to land and be like, yeah, that was awesome. And I was like, yeah, that was great. Like all about the Zen, you know what I mean?
Maybe you need to do it more often because then it can just kind of chill you down, you know, chill you out and
calm me down.
Yes.
Yeah, just
if anybody thinks that this is like playing it up because we're doing something like this, it's not. This is 24/7, all day, every day. Just
with something,
you know,
with my little
just yeah, amazing, cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who joined us. Sorry it was all a bit higgledy-piggledy. Hopefully when we do it again at some point, it will be better.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Yeah. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Lucy. Bye, everyone.